On the morning of April 23rd, 1994, a park cleaner in Tokyo opened a trash bag expecting to find nothing more than the discarded remnants of a Friday night. Instead, they found 200 pieces of human remains. But here is the uncharted mystery that has kept investigators awake for over 30 years. Every single piece was cut to exactly 20 centimeters. Every drop of blood had been surgically drained from the tissue, and every fingerprint on every single finger had been systematically sanded off until the skin was as smooth as glass. This wasn't just a murder. It was a masterpiece of forensic erasure, performed with a kind of chilling precision that shouldn't be possible in the dark corners of a public park. 1994 was a pivotal year for Japan. Tokyo was a city caught in the tension between its bubble-era neon past and an uncertain digital future. Inokashira Park was the lungs of the city, a place for families, students, and quiet weekend walks. But at 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning, that quiet was shattered. It started with a janitor performing a routine check of the trash bins near the pond. What they found inside 24 separate, semi-translucent bags wasn't just remains. It was a message of terrifying competence. The victim was eventually identified through DNA as Seiichi Kawamura. He was a 35-year-old architect, a man whose entire professional life was dedicated to the science of measurement and the structural integrity of blueprints. There's a cruel, almost poetic irony in the fact that he was disposed of with the same mathematical exactness he used in his work. This is where the case leaves the world of ordinary crime and enters the realm of uncharted mysteries. When the coroners at the Tokyo Medical University began the autopsy, the room went silent. They'd seen dismemberment before, usually the messy, desperate work of an amateur trying to hide a mistake. This was different. First, consider the length. Each piece of Kawamura's body, arms, legs, torso, was cut to exactly 20 centimeters, not 19.5, not 21, exactly 20. When the police looked at the trash bins in the park, they realized why. The openings of those specific bins were 20 centimeters wide. The killer hadn't just murdered Kawamura. They had engineered his body to fit the infrastructure of the disposal site. This suggests a level of premeditation and site surveying that goes beyond almost any other cold case in Asian history. The killer knew the park's equipment as intimately as the people who worked there. But the horror deepens when you look at what was missing. There was no blood. In a typical dismemberment, the scene is a chaotic map of biological evidence. But Kawamura's remains were clean. Draining a human body of every ounce of blood and lymphatic fluid is a task that usually requires a controlled industrial setting, a slaughterhouse, a high-end funeral home, or a surgical theater. Yet, there was no trail. No secondary crime scene was ever found. No apartment in the high-density neighborhood nearby showed the kind of deep cleaning required to hide such a procedure. It was as if Kawamura had been processed in a vacuum. Then there were the fingerprints. In most unsolved cases, the killer tries to destroy the face or remove the hands. In this case, the killer went further. They used an abrasive tool to sand down the fingertips, layer by layer, until the unique ridges that define a human identity were gone. They didn't just want to hide who he was. They wanted to erase the very concept of his existence. This was a professional forensic cleaning performed on a living or recently deceased human being. Who was Seiichi Kawamura, month before, he became a collection of 20-centimeter fragments. He lived a remarkably unremarkable life. He was a quiet man, well-liked by his colleagues, with no known debts, no ties to organized crime, and no volatile relationships. He left his office on the evening of April 21st, 2 days before the discovery. He told a co-worker he was going for a walk. He was seen at a department store, then near a train station, and then he stepped into the shadows. A witness later came forward with a detail that has haunted the investigation. They reported seeing a man matching Kawamura's description walking near the park on the night of the 21st. He wasn't alone. He was being walked between two strangers. The witness noted that he didn't look like he was being kidnapped. There was no struggle, no weapon visible. He looked like he was being escorted. He was walking with the calm, resigned gait of a man who knew exactly where he was going and that there was no way out. The investigation that followed was one of the largest in the history of the Tokyo Metropolitan Police. 37,000 man-hours were dedicated to the case. They interviewed every resident near the park. They searched the sewers. They analyzed the specific brand of trash bags used, a common type sold at local supermarkets, making them impossible to trace. They even looked into the tools. The cuts on the bone were too clean for a handsaw. They were consistent with an electric circular saw, the kind used in construction, or more tellingly, in medical bone cutting. As the years turned into decades, the theories began to mirror the anxieties of Japanese society. The first led to the cults. In the mid-90s, Japan was in the shadow of Aum Shinrikyo. The cult was known to have a massive membership of doctors, chemists, and engineers. They had the facilities and the fanatical discipline to perform a forensic erasure as a ritual or a punishment. Some believe Kawamura, through his work as an architect, had inadvertently stumbled upon a secret facility or a plan he wasn't meant to see. The second theory points toward the professionals of the underworld, the legendary cleaners of the Yakuza, or even state-level actors from abroad. The sheer efficiency of the disposal suggests a team of at least 3 people, 1 to guard, 1 to cut, and 1 to transport. The lack of a motive remains the strongest piece of evidence for this theory. When there is no motive, it usually means the victim was incidental to a larger machine. Kawamura may have simply been in the wrong place at a time when a professional team needed to practice or send a silent signal to those in the know. There is a third, more modern theory that has gained traction in online circles. The idea of a dark doctor, a rogue medical professional using the city as a laboratory for anatomical precision, someone obsessed with the mechanics of the human frame, who saw Kawamura not as a man, but as a series of 20-centimeter problems to be solved. Under the Japanese legal system of that era, the statute of limitations for murder was 15 years. It was a ticking clock that the family of Seiichi Kawamura watched with a sense of mounting dread. Every year that passed without an arrest was a year closer to the killer's total legal immunity. On April 23rd, 2009, 15 years to the day after the janitor opened that first bag, the clock stopped. The case was legally dead. Even if the killer walked into a police station today and confessed with the saw in their hand, they could not be touched. They are a ghost in the eyes of the law, a shadow protected by the very statutes meant to ensure a functional society. This is the ultimate uncharted mystery, not just how it was done, but how the person responsible can now walk the streets of Mitaka or Shinjuku, perhaps even visiting Inokashira Park on a Saturday morning, knowing they are beyond the reach of justice. The police files remain in storage, thousands of pages of interviews and forensic reports that lead to a brick wall. The DNA samples are still held in cold storage, but without a suspect to match them to, they are just strings of useless code. The 24 bags have become a legend in the annals of Japanese crime, a benchmark for a level of cold-blooded competence that has never been seen since. Seiichi Kawamura is a name that has faded from the headlines, but the precision of his end remains a haunting presence in the park. The trash bins have been replaced with newer models, their openings designed differently now, but the geography of the crime remains the same. The trees that shaded the bags in 1994 are taller now, their roots deeper in the soil that once held a secret the world was never meant to find. When you look at this case, you have to ask yourself, what is more terrifying? The idea that a monster exists who could do this to another human being, or the idea that such a person can be so precise, so quiet, and so meticulous that they can vanish into a city of 14 million people and never be heard from again? In the world of true crime, we often look for the why. We look for the passion, the greed, or the madness. But in the Inokashira Park Mystery, the why is buried under the how. The how was so perfect that it erased the why. It was a murder stripped of its humanity and reduced to a series of 20-centimeter segments. What do you believe happened in those 48 hours between Kawamura's walk and the janitor's discovery? Was it a cult performing a dark rite in a hidden basement? Was it a professional hit carried out with military efficiency? Or was it something even more uncharted? A random encounter with a level of evil that the human mind isn't equipped to understand. The killer is out there. They're older now, perhaps graying, perhaps living a quiet life in a quiet suburb. They carry the memory of the saw, the smell of the park in the early morning, and the knowledge of exactly how long it takes to sand a human identity into nothingness. Stay curious. Stay safe. This was an uncharted mystery.